Hi, everyone. Welcome to the High Vibe Nation, a focus on inspiration and revealing tips for raising awareness and better living. It's time to shift now.
Welcome, everyone.
And Pamela, Aubrey.
So great to be here with all of you. And we are going to be here with someone very special today. He is a professional clarity trainer, and he trains people to find clarity in themselves and their environment. And today he will be discussing his course, Unpacking, and the reason to do it and the things that typically hold people back. So we would like to welcome Joe Ingram to the show. Welcome, Joe.
Welcome.
Hello, ladies. Thank you for having me on. I'm truly grateful for the opportunity to come and talk with everybody.
Awesome.
How are we doing today?
Wonderful to have you here.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to jump right in.
Okay? Please do.
How we do. So myself and Dr. Bill, as well as my brother Frank, we have been conducting for about 6 months now. We do what we call the Unpacking Class. We came up with it. I was sitting there one day going, wow, everybody is spending thousands upon thousands of dollars to make themselves better, but typically just end up going through a class and coming out with maybe one or two things that might work if they focused on doing it. Or somebody starts you down a process. And of course, the next step is what? The upsell. It's, oh, you know what can I do to make sure we can actually build a business off of it? Well, both Bill and I and my brother have successful businesses already. So the answer wasn't, how do I find a pay to play market, or how do I find the way to charge people and throw them in through my funnel, right, of self-improvement? Because this is a big industry. For people to go in and just say, wow, you can actually charge a lot of people a lot of money and get no results at the end of it and still keep all the money.
Yeah, amazing.
And so to me, my answer was, I don't want to do that. So we set up a very affordable payment plan at $0 down and $0 a month until it's paid off. Okay. So we don't believe in charging anybody. We say that's great. And we've gotten a lot of slack for that from a lot of people in the market or in the industry by saying, okay, you're playing and you're pretending to be something. And we're like, we're not. We've paid, we've got the education, we've built it together. I just choose not to charge for this piece, right? Will we be charging down the road? Yeah, we have a 3-course thing lined up. The last one is our extreme accountability piece. And that's going to be, I mean, at the whopping end, you're talking like $10 a month to participate in all of our online courses and to follow through with everything that we're trying to put together. That's what we're trying to say, is that it's all about, can we make self-help affordable to people?
Sure.
And one of the things, which was great because you guys were in our beta testing yesterday, which was the first time we ever did it virtually. So we've been doing it, right? And we try to limit the amount of people the participants that come in. We try to limit it so that we can get enough human interaction back and forth as far as the quantity of people, while not overloading the office itself. Because again, it is still, I use my office with my conference room, or Bill uses his chiropractic office. So we have to take everything out of there to get everything set up to do it, right? Otherwise I fall over chiropractor tables. But sorry, earthquake. No, just me. When the earth moves, you know you're in the right spot. So, but no, sitting there and going through, and we've sold out every one of the courses because we limited the number of seats, and we said we can't have more than, originally it was 10 people, like no more than 10 people at a time, because when you first start, you don't want to go crazy, throw 30 people in a room and realize you don't have all the bugs worked out. Right. And so we sat back and said, no, let's limit it to 10 people. And then the 10 people became 12 and 15 and what have you. And so I'm like, okay, we got to stop. But our last one we did face-to-face before everybody decided to stay indoors was 18 people that were in the class. And so our overall goal is to do what? We want to teach you the skills. So I like getting people clear on what they're doing, what they are being, right? And I want to make sure that they do this. Now, I mean, I teach people all day long for my own company, but in dealing with people, I want to make sure that whatever I do is the just the meat and potatoes. I don't want to give you broccoli. We know that, right? But I don't do salads. I don't do any of the other stuff that's out there. I don't want to do all that stuff. I want to say, come in, sit down, take what you need to take, and run. Okay. And so we took courses that are 3, 4, and 5 days long and condensed them into 4 hours. And so why? Because we cut out the fluff. You know what the biggest piece we cut out was the sales pitch for the next event. Okay. And that's what we took out, was we were like, okay, fine. And so I already paid for the training. I got trained by multiple trainers. We've condensed it together. Bill went to multiple ones. We ended up connecting at the training because we both went there. We didn't schedule to go there, but we both ended up at the same place. So in ending up at the same place, it was like, hey, we started talking, and we both have the same end in mind. So we said, might as well just jump on the car together and go faster.
Right.
Love it.
So that was the overall. So what we could do to give back, right? And these are all things, understand, every time you go to a class, you come back, you tell somebody.
Right.
Okay. And you go, hey, let me tell you what I learned today. I learned this, and this. Oh, it was so amazing. And they go, you're weird, right? Because they didn't go through it. Mm-hmm. And so, and again, my answer was, I don't care what baggage you bring in with you, we're going to unpack it. And that's the whole point, is we have been given all of this stuff thrown at us, right? At a time when we couldn't say no, right? Prior to the age of 7, you got feedback in that maybe it wasn't even talking about you, but somewhere in the room, somebody said something, and right, all of a sudden you go, oh, great. I always was told I just have big bones, right? Except I never saw a fat skeleton. So that always meant it's not the size of the bones that's determining the weight that's on you, right? And so that's what I looked at, and I said, there's so many things we can go back in and actually unpack that was put onto us instead of given to us. And so as soon as you can start talking, they put a backpack on you, and that thing just keeps filling and just keeps filling and just keeps filling. And it's not the good stuff, because the good stuff never weighs you down, right? Everything positive that ever happened to you, you don't think about it and go, now I feel depressed and heavy, right? That makes you feel lighter and brighter. And so the answer is, if we took away all the stuff that was given to you or that you earned or self-fulfilled into that backpack, right, then I wanted to make sure we can take that off from somebody and do it with fun. The reason Dr. Bill and I and my brother work so well together is that everything's based on humor. And it's my belief that as soon as somebody laughs at something you said, the wall is down. Okay. So if you think about somebody you absolutely despise and you hate, right? They can tell you the funniest joke you've ever heard and you won't laugh because you don't want to give them the satisfaction of laughing. You'll remember the joke and tell it later to someone you like, right? But again, if that's what you got to deal with, I'd much rather say, let's laugh, let's go through it. All of my trainings involve fun and involve actually laughing throughout the process. Where a lot of people,
you're really good at that. You're really good just at all the right moments too. And so one of the questions that I really want to ask is, what really inspired all of this? What brought you to the point of deciding that this is what you wanted to do?
I forever have been that teacher trainer and the person who gives the emotional deposits into their bank accounts, right, to coin everybody else's programs. But I've always been that person that can take the complex and make it simple, right? Quite often I get asked by, Bob Donnell will put up, what's your genius? What's your genius? Right? And he's always said that when he goes, so what's your genius? I go, okay, I'm an electrical engineer by degree. Okay. I made a lot of money in the sales world because as an engineer, you have to be quiet and I can't do that. Right. And so then I moved into the sales arena, made a lot of money because it's about interacting with people and it's about how can you relate to the other person. And the more you learn of yourself, the easier it is to recognize the similarities in somebody else. Mm. And so once you recognize the similarities, then I can speak your language as opposed to mine. And too often, I remember this, through a previous marriage, through every other place I worked and hiring people, was if I'm just going to speak my language, I only get people around me that speak my language. And if I get just that niche of a group, then I'm going to miss all of the rest of the people that are out there that don't. And so, like, some people go, I speak 5 languages. I'm like, I have a hard time with English. I don't even understand how you can go add more on there. But I know that there's a language of body language, right? There's a language with tone and inflection. And when you deal with those kind of things, you can understand more than most. Like, growing up in high school, my best friend was Korean. And so with him being Korean, it was like, okay, his parents didn't speak English a lot. So they would come in, you'd see his mom come in the room, blah, 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 and I was like, yeah, you should clean your room. Yeah, you should go take this stuff. And he's like, do you speak Korean? I'm like, no, all moms look the same way when they give that list of stuff you need to do. You just got to pay attention. Tone and body language is going to give me everything I need. And so just understanding that and realizing that I can take from the abstract and make it something concrete that you could write down was what I found to be the easiest thing for me. And then when I realized it wasn't easy for a lot of people, the answer is, how do we teach it? And so, truthfully, the most satisfaction I've ever got is when I sit down and I teach somebody something, and then that spark lights up in their eye, and they're changed forever.
Right.
Whether they act on it or not is on them, and that took me a long time too. Right? Because I go in, I dump. Oh, you can do this. I can save you 3 years of doing this, right? And I can just show you, go from here to here, and I will save you 3 years. And their answer was, okay. And they start doing this. And I'm like, but remember, I told you this. And they're like, yeah, but I saw it light up in you. I saw it spark. You saw what I said and you understood it. You digested it, but you chose not to take action. And if that's the case, right, you chose not to take action. I used to take it as an insult on me. I used to take it as, oh my gosh, I must suck as a trainer. I must suck as anybody who's doing this. And it's like, no. Every time I worked for somebody, I built an incredible team of people because I spoke their language. Okay? And too often our ego gets in the way.
Yeah, for sure.
And the ego is, you don't understand. You need to listen to me because I know. I don't walk into that at all. So in the sales world, I tell everybody, ego stands for edging gross out. Right? Okay, because you're going to take money out of your own deal because you want to keep your own ego. And that doesn't make sense to me, right? I grew up with people saying, well, ego means you're edging God out. And I'm like, okay, I understand that, but I need some element of ego so that I can actually go desire to perform. If I think I'm nothing, then I won't do anything.
Right.
But I have to define myself as something I have to have enough to give it.
Right.
Right. And so put the mask on yourself. We've all heard that 1,000 times from every speaker that's out there. And so that's why you didn't hear it yesterday when I was in there. But one of the big things was just sitting back and saying, what do I want to do and how can I give back? Right. I never sat down and said, I've always pictured myself talking to crowds.
Right.
But I've never said, I'm the next Tony Robbins. I'm the next this person. I don't define myself based on other people's success. I just see myself talking. And I go, I can see myself in front of a stadium of people and talking about stuff. And my goal was, can I go find what I'm really good at so that I'd have enough to talk? Okay. And one of my big things was always, you need to do your main hustle long enough, okay, till you can pay for the side hustle. And when the side hustle pays you more than the main hustle, flip it, right? And you can go into what you're doing. And most people get that different. The answer is jump, right? And I'm not that person. I don't jump and grow wings on the way down, right? I'm an electrical engineer. I've already designed wings, right? So I already have it in my mind before I jump. But I just look at it and say, if this is the best day and age to go find anything you want on YouTube, and why aren't you going out and doing it? So that's my whole goal is go get yourself as good as you can on your own time, right? You're doing nothing between 2 and 4 in the morning. I'm just going to point that out. So, pull it up. Don't watch a TV show. Go find something to teach you to learn something.
So let me ask you a question. So we've been, the show is all about the high vibe nation. And, really mine and Pam's goal in coming together is to connect people with that vibration inside of them, that energy, that feeling of what I like to call good and greater good, which, some people can say, oh, that's airy-fairy thinking and woo-woo thinking. But, Pam and I experienced something with you yesterday when we took your unpacking class. And it really aligned me with that higher vibration in myself, to where I can, like what you're saying about yourself, where I can just fully be myself and play full out. Because let's face it, what's going on right now, we need to share tools with people that they can add to their toolkit. And I know that's your goal. I know that's
Right.
why you're doing this, and this is where your heart and your brother and Bill's heart is. So share a little bit about some of the tools people can use right now to de-stress or release some of that anxiety.
Okay. So one of the things I'm going to say, right now, we have a lot of tension. We all know that there's uncertainty. Uncertainty leads to anxiety. Okay. It leads to stress. It leads to a whole bunch of bad stuff. But right now, what I'm going to tell you, and I keep saying this to people, as I say, look, right now you're floating as opposed to swimming. So right now we're in this current of what's going on in our lives. And if you sit down and float, you don't know where you're going to end up. You don't know how long you're going to be in the middle of this river that we're going down right now. But if you swim, you know where you're going. You're in control of it. Because when you float, you're like, I don't know, I'm just letting it go. Well, right now we're like, are you going to let it go till the end of April? Don't know. Maybe it's going to go till May. I don't know. Could be 8 months. And now you get panicked because you don't know what's going on, where the answer is okay, if I'm swimming, at least I'm going to where I want to go. Is there something you can actually do? And so it's giving me the power, okay, because I want to be at cause. And too often everybody blames everything on everything happening to them, okay? And you can say it happens for you. I'm okay if you want to say that. I don't say that. I look at it and say, it's happening, and I put it in play. Okay, so I put this in play because I reached out to somebody who reached out to somebody, popped on. I met the two of you.
Right.
Okay, and so we all have connections that we don't recognize we have, and we don't find the resonance between people. But if you vibrate at too high of a frequency, the people at the bottom can't communicate to you. Mm-hmm. So can you lower your frequency to match them and bring them up?
Right.
Okay, and find people where they're at. But when I look at things and I go, again, my answer is, if I'm in control of the situation, then at least half of my stress goes away if I take ownership for it. But when you're sitting back going, oh my gosh, what else could happen?
Right.
Well, the next thing that does happen, it could be you could knock your cup off the counter and you're like, you see that? The universe hates me. And you're like, no, you just didn't pay attention to where the cup was. Where if you go, I'm in control of my life, and you knock it over and go, I wonder why I did that. Okay. I knew I put it there, but again, I'm not giving the power away. Okay. Stress comes from what? Me expecting that the current situation I am should be different. Okay. So why are you stressing? Because, it should be this way. It should be this way. It should be. And everybody shoulds all over themselves.
Sure.
And you don't want to be that person. But our body gets addicted to that chemical. Okay. We all know that person. If I go, think of the most negative person you know. Mm-hmm. Okay. There's a person who pops in your head. Well, that person will always find the worst thing that could possibly have happened. Right. And I always laugh and I tell people, I go, okay, so you end up driving down to the beach. You see an 80-year-old guy with his arm around a 20-year-old girl in a bikini. What's the scenario? Okay. Depends how much TV you've watched. Depends on what everybody put in your head. And I'm like, I think it's so great that the grandfather came to pick up his granddaughter because her car broke down. I chose to see it different than what everybody else's mind went to.
Perception.
That was there, right? But my perception is based off of my experience. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to continue, whatever you self-speak is going to come out.
Sure.
So you got to change the way you're actually speaking to yourself. Because if you had a friend that you talk to the way you talk to yourself, they wouldn't be your friend. I wouldn't talk to the person who goes, "You're such an idiot. Oh my God, why would you do that?" Because, and I don't say those things to myself anymore. I used to, right? Until I understood that, hey, don't beat yourself up about it. Learn from it so you can correct it. So one of the things I tell everybody whenever I talk to them is I say 2 words to take out of your vocabulary. Okay? No problem. Take no problem out of your vocabulary, because the way your brain interprets things, your brain thinks in pictures, sounds, and feelings, and it has to picture what you're talking about before it can take it away. So if I look at the 2 of you and I go, okay, ladies, please, do not. Do I want you to or not? No. Do not think of a kitten right now. Okay? And now what's in your head? Anybody watching is going, it was a kitten, right? You know, there'll be some smart asses like me that go, it was a dog. And I'm like, it's not a dog unless your parents raised you to think a dog was a kitten. Okay? But we think of whatever it is, then we put that little circle with the slash through it that we've been taught. Okay? And then we go, that's what it meant was, okay, so I have to picture it and then take it away. So if I have to picture it, guess what? It went in your head that way.
Right.
So if it goes in your head that way and then you got to take it out, it was already introduced. So you always, I tell people all the time, go, look, if I looked over and I go, so they go, can you do da-da-da-da? I go, no problem. And then they look at you and they go, are you sure? Because they don't even know what problem you just sidestepped. They're like, what was the problem? So if I don't deal with you, then what am I supposed to tell? Now you made somebody uneasy. Okay. And in this day and age, you can't make your prospects, your friends, anybody else uneasy because they're already uneasy, right? How can you be the island of peace that in all this storm that's going on? That's what we want to try to figure out with these people. But change your vocabulary, right? Change the stuff you're chasing to I'm going that direction as opposed to I don't want to be over here. Because you can listen to people all day long. I don't want to be fat. I'm like, what? They're like, I don't want to be fat. And I'm like, okay, so what does fat look like for you? And they go, well, I just don't want to be this. Okay, I don't want to be broke. Okay, well, how much money is broke? I just don't want to be broke. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you want? I just know what I don't want.
Right.
So if you keep thinking about what you don't want, what do you have to picture? You have to picture what you don't want to try to take it away, and you just keep reinforcing that over and over again. Okay. We have a fantastic gift, which is called an imagination. We all have it.
Yep.
Okay. Right. Because even when you say, I don't want to be fat, your imagination is picturing you fat.
Right.
Right. And so again, whether it's a feeling, whether it's visual, whether you just hear fat in your ear, right. However you learn, however you process. But overall, we're going to end up finding a way to say, I'm thinking of the wrong things, as opposed to flipping it around and saying, I want to be fit. Right? I want to be wealthy. But have you defined it? Okay. So a friend of mine, John Chin, does this all the time. He goes, okay, let's do an exercise. And we're like, okay, what's this exercise? He goes, okay, I'm going to give you a ball and I want you to throw it and hit my hand. If you hit my hand, you'll get whatever amount of money you think is right. And I'm like, okay, great. And he goes, so now, how much money you want to make? I'm like, $12,765,648.69. Giggity. And he goes, okay, great. So you know it. So then he just holds his hand like this. And he just holds it and you can throw the ball. Right? He goes, now, if you say I want to be rich, that's this. Okay? So now do you want me to do this when you throw the ball, or do you want me to hold it still? And most people haven't figured out how to get your hands still to hit the ball, right? Because we just say, I want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. Or worse, I say, I don't want to be living on the street. I don't want to be in a car. Those kind of things. So we just, again, you got to change the way you're looking at things and flip it around to the right way. And you know what? Again, pay attention to how you feel when you do things. If you look at yourself and you go, I don't want to be this, your energy drops.
Sure.
Right? In my class, I'll tell people all the time, I go, hey, look, right now, pay attention to your body and what you're thinking. Check your energy level right now. Okay? And then I go, now, sit like somebody who's depressed. And they go. And I'm like, what happened to your energy level? And they're like, it's really down. I go, now, sit up and think that the next thing I say out of my mouth is going to change your life forever and make you rich beyond your dreams. And I go, now where's your energy level? And they're like, it's up. I'm excited. I'm all you did was act out with your body something, and your brain goes, oh, I get it. We're doing this. So it's really difficult for you to act contrary to your body with your thought process. Mm-hmm. It's all connected. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I spend a lot of time teaching people over the phone for business wise. And I'm like, but can you sound excited if you're sitting there with your feet up on your desk and laid back? Right. We've all dealt with several customer service people that you knew were laying on the floor when they talked to you. But
you can tell.
Yeah. You can tell their answer is, you're my 200th phone call and I really want to get off the phone with you.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So
let me ask you a question real quick, just in relationship to what you're saying. Don't you think that, like, one of the things is I say the universe has got your back, and that can be so controversial for some people because their habit is to analyze, rationalize, and scrutinize. Their habit is not to, like you said, get clear about what they really want and go into the feeling and the passion and the vibration of what they really want and lift that. Their first thought is to tear apart and break down something that someone has said or what they've seen around, yeah, right, the universe has got my back. What does that mean? How do I look for the universe to have my back? That's that kind of thing. It's a habit. I mean, these are habits we've formed that don't serve us.
Right. Well, again, it goes all the way back to a belief system on what somebody has put in you or what over your time. Remember, all we do is we analyze what I've done and the results I got. Right. What I've done and the results I've got. So I will tell you, for a majority of my life, okay, like into my 30s, I always felt that I should never give anything 100%, because if I gave it 100% and I failed, it would be my fault. So I would only go 70% into anything. So if I go 70% into something and I fail, then I go, that's because I didn't give 100%. I don't own the failure. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then somebody woke up one day and told me, goes, why is failure bad? And I was like, dang, we totally have that labeled as a bad thing.
Right.
So my answer is, okay, great. If failure's not a bad thing, then I can play full out.
Right.
It's just getting me to the next level of what I need to do to move forward. And we all know this. Video games teach you that. Mm-hmm. Fail forward. You can't get to level 2 unless you beat level 1. But when you first turn on the game, you don't know what to do. Now we got cheat codes and everything else you can find online to get you ahead of the game. But I think that's the same thing we have with YouTube. Mm-hmm. You have cheat codes for life out on YouTube. Connect with people like yourselves that have already walked the walk, right? And invest in yourself by giving somebody else the opportunity to help you up. But we sit back all the time. Do you realize if you tell me the universe has my back and I'm already failing and jacked up in my current situation, mm-hmm. then I'm twice the failure when you say that? Mm-hmm. Because if something's been helping me, then I've been double sabotaging.
Sure.
And now I have to own that. That's not the society we're at right now, right? The higher vibration people say I own every situation.
Right.
Right? I own it. I caused it. It doesn't matter. I don't look for blame. I look for the fact and say, hey, I own it. So if I own it, I don't have any issues with anybody because I own it. Okay? I don't have to look outside myself for anything. So if you say, hey, this unknown thing is on my side, then maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But again, somebody told me to, right? I'm going to quote somebody else at this point, but even God can't steer a parked car, right? If you're in park, it doesn't matter which way you turn the wheel. You're not going to move forward, right? So if the universe can't steer the car for you because you're not moving, then the answer is is the universe supposed to press the gas too? Right? There's a lot of stuff we're asking for to do that. And a lot of people aren't comfortable with asking, or a lot of people haven't seen the success little by little mm-hmm. to get to that point. Mm-hmm. Right? If you feel like you're more of a loser in life, then you got to figure out how to get the little wins that go forward.
Okay? Well, and that's what I was just going to ask you. So, if you're kind of at that point where you're trying to come to a place where you resonate with that idea that the universe is for you, but you're seeing your circumstances and you're not quite able to make that leap. What do you recommend people do to help themselves, take that step to the next level?
So again, we've always had those times in our lives where we're like, nothing goes right. Okay. Everything just blew up for no reason. And then if you go and research anything, and if you took a gut check moment from yourself, you'll realize that happened and it actually was to send you down a different path. Okay. So I had to stop because, again, Southern California, I live in traffic, right? Anytime I go to a client, go someplace, I am stuck in traffic. And so I have to, I used to play a game, and I got my wife, the kids, everybody playing this game. So if you catch a green light, we're going, woohoo! Yeah, right? And then you're going to catch more greens than you will red because you're looking for it.
Right. You're looking for the wins.
I'm looking for a win, okay? But I break everything down to a win. So if I meet somebody new, I go, that's a win, right? If we have a great conversation, that's a win, okay? If it ends up becoming a friendship, that's a win. But anything you can look for, because you program yourself to now look for the bright side. Right. You look for what's there. If you believe you're unlucky, you're unlucky. If you believe that you're just a bad soul, then you'll make decisions based off of your belief structure that's there. So again, retrain yourself to do that. And a lot of times, I'm going to tell you, is more often than not, it came from you being a kid listening to your parents, and your parents were negative. Your parents pointed out that, right? My whole family, humor is ingrained in the whole family. I'm one of the shyest and quietest ones in the family.
No, really?
Yeah. Thanksgiving was hell at our house to get a word in edgewise. Wow. Right? But again, the answer is humor. My dad used to own a gas station, and he used to have people that didn't need gas, didn't need their car worked on, that would get off the freeway 4 miles down, take the side streets because it ran parallel to the freeway, to pull in the morning and go, hey, I need the joke of the day.
Right on.
My dad would go out, give them the joke. Okay, then they would jump back on, go another quarter mile, and jump in on the freeway.
You hear Bill over here. Bill's popped up.
Bill, it is humor. It's just not always appropriate. So, yes, I'm going to say what I want to say. I'll apologize afterwards, but just some people weren't offended, and some people. I had somebody on TikTok the other day was like, "Take this egg, throw it on the ground. Now say sorry to it. Do you understand?" And they're like, what? And I'm like, you can't have scrambled eggs on the floor. You should have done it on a pan, right? But they're like, see, you can't fix what you did just by saying sorry. And I'm like, okay, so don't say sorry. That's what I learned. But the answer is that what? We're always out there. We're always going to throw ourselves in the middle of something. But you determine what is a win and what isn't a win.
Right.
And you can find it all day long. If you reach over to grab a pin and there's a pin, you go, see, right where I needed it to be. Okay. And that way you can figure it out. Hi, Bill. That's half of Pebble's brother, or Barney's kid, Bam. Right? That just showed my age. Yes.
I said yesterday, boom, come out. You know?
Get into that one.
Well, here's the thing that I wanted to point out is that, there's certain people that I'll run into, and they're so aligned with fear. And they're like, gosh, how come you're not worried? How come when you say, how are you? You say, fantastic, awesome. Because just like what you just said, I'm looking for the wins. I'm looking for that feeling of playing full out and, being the funny, silly Sherry that I'm daring to be, that I've chosen to be in my life right now. And people are so connected to fear, and they want to get out there in the media, and they want to keep paying attention and putting their focus on this coronavirus and everything that's going on and how many people are dying. And, they're connecting with that feeling of fear.
Right. Well, again, fear is an element of control. Mm-hmm. Okay, not for the person who's fearful, but for people who are orchestrating fear. So that's always going to be something that's going to be used to control a group of people, is the fear of something going bad or the fear that's there. But again, are you choosing to only see the bad? Okay. Like I took off cable. I only have streaming services on internet. Okay. I agree with Bill 100%. Ask for forgiveness, not permission. So that's actually one of my interview questions whenever I interview people to come to work. My answer is, okay, if we taught you what to do, would you do it if I wasn't here? Right. And then if they go, no, I would wait until you, I'm like, okay, I don't need you. I need somebody that can operate without me. But in looking at that, right, I'm going to sit back and say, I choose to be fearful, right? And I'm going to go search more fear. Right? Which lowers your frequency, which puts you down at the bottom. Okay. It's not a good feeling, right? Stop and check yourself. Do I feel good? Do I not? But as Dr. Joe Dispenza pointed out, your body runs off of chemicals, right? Your chemicals are interpreted as a feeling. That's why if you eat the wrong things and you do the wrong things, you end up feeling worse. Okay. So what's up, Eric Swanson?
Hey,
okay. Yes. He's awesome. See what I did there?
Mr. Awesome.
So if I'm going to sit back and do things that cause a lower frequency of me and a lower feeling for me, then we'll understand who's actually at cause. You're choosing to do it. I seek out those things, but we have spent, and we talked yesterday, we're spending so much time in this fear, anxious, right? We're in this doom and gloom that becomes our new normal.
Right.
So there is no fight or flight if you're always in fight or flight. That's my normal state now, is I'm always fearful. I'm always ready to run. I don't know what's going to happen next, but something's going to come get me. Okay. And it's like, okay, well, if that's your normal state, then your body gets used to, this is the chemicals and the feelings I have to operate under. So when you then take yourself out of that, when you take it out, your body goes, hey, no. Your body's always trying to seek normal. It's always trying to get back to where it is. But if I'm always acidic, then alkaline's going to feel totally weird to me, right? If I'm always negative, then being positive is going to feel weird to me. And I'll find a way to lash out and attack somebody, right? So that I can go back to the feelings because my body is jonesing for it. Everybody is going, I need to do it. I need to do it. And so when it does that, it triggers your brain and goes, can you give me more of that stuff? I need to get back to my new normal, right? And you go back to that and it goes, and how do you do that? I think of bad things. I look for everything that's going wrong. And I take that approach to everything. And that's all that's going to do is, again, take you down, but your body goes, whoo, thank you. That's where we needed to be. Right. And so you have to go back and retrain yourself again. And guess what? That's going to take work. It took work to get you to this scared all the time. Okay. You had to choose to do it. But the person who comes in and goes, I need to turn on the news. I'm like, nope. Now, I will tell you this happens daily. Right. Somebody goes, well, did you see on the news this? I go, no, that's me, bro. And you know how you knew that? Because it was clear. So
that's right.
Right. So they go, did you see this on the news? And I'm like, no. And they're like, how did you? I go, I don't watch the news. Nobody in my house watches them. My kids don't watch the news, and they live in other houses, right? But they don't watch the news. And they're like, how do you not watch the news? I said, if it's important enough, someone like you will ask me if I saw the news and tell me what it was. But other than that, I don't need to know about all the negativity that's out there. Right. How long did Tony Robbins put out a positivity network? Right. How long did that stay up? 2 months. Right. And that's because he floated it. Okay. Les Brown did a radio show about all positivity and they canceled his show. Right. Why? Because we're not trained to go look for the positivity in life. Right. We're trained to look for the next element of drama or trauma. And that's what we go after. And that, guess what? Every time you go and find it, you just add it to your backpack. Right. And you're like, good, let me carry this around because when my body says I need some stuff, I'm going to go, hey, remember a year ago when we got in a car accident? Let's think about that. And it's not doing anything other than lowering your frequency and keeping you down. right? And again, if I'm a low frequency person and I'm looking for that, guess what? I may want exactly what you two have. You may have the lifestyle I want. You may have the internal peace that I want. You may have the fact you attract people to you. But if I don't have those, then that's a threat because it's something I want. So what's easier for me to do? Change me or tear you down? Right? I'm going to go tear you down. It's much easier to go ahead and take you down and say, look, you suck too. Right?
Well, don't you think that that's how people fill up when we recognize that everything's energy, and that if we would just be more present in the moment. I mean, what's happening right now is what's causing all of us to be more present, to go more inward. But if people could just be observant of what's showing up in their lives in today, and as you're giving all of us, these amazing tools, we could access those within ourselves and recognize, wait a minute, if drama is showing up in my life, if pain and suffering and stress is showing up in my life, let me look at that for a second without emotional attachment and say, wow, okay, something in me needs to shift.
Right. But again, that's ownership. And for a lot of people, the clarity of looking inward first isn't the natural instinct.
Right.
And so it has to be a conscious decision. Well, how do I get to that conscious decision? I have to consistently change what I'm doing so that I'm uncomfortable. And if you can get used to being uncomfortable, right? I hear people all the time go, I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. I'm like, you're not. It's contrary to what you just said. Okay. By the definition of the words, you can't be. But if I'm uncomfortable and I'm okay with tolerating uncomfortable till I get comfortable, then that's a better way to look at things. So I'm very, very cerebral, and I've always avoided emotion and things like that because I thought it was a weakness. Okay. I thought if you're controlled by your emotions, like I'll tell you, if you go look at the person that is the most drama person that you know, okay, that'll be the same person who tells you every week what happened on some housewives of someplace else.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
They're continuously consuming drama to justify their behavior. And then the worst thing is when it comes out and goes, all of these fights and the drama was staged for ratings. Right. And then if you go do that, right, unstoppable interview. I can't read. I'm a man. I can't read and talk. So I have to actually stop and go, what?
Being recognized for your magnificence.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it's more of obnoxiousness, and I just throw it out there and it sticks to who it sticks to. But again, it always happens with age. I'm going to tell you, if we can take it back to younger people and let them know that it's okay to be you where you're at now, instead of trying to put on what somebody else wants you to wear and go through that I think would make the biggest difference that's there. With my kids, when they were growing up, my answer, I went and I talked to them. I go, let's look for some very cool quotes that resonate with you. Right? Let's look for some quotes. And so we would go print them off and go through, and I put them all over their walls. And every night before bed, I would walk in to go tuck them in. I go, okay, read your quote. And there's like 50 on the walls. So we put superheroes on the walls and then quotes. So we always had with great power comes great responsibility. And that was on the Superman poster or on the Spider-Man poster, right? We had all of these things up there, but it was more fun, but it was like, okay, fine. And then my oldest was just like, I just memorized them all so I don't have to sit up to look at it. Right? And he's like, you miss 100% of the shots you never take, right? You do all this. And he has these all archived that is there, but that was just, I need to get more positivity put into them so that they can understand they're in control of what they do. And again, most people aren't doing it. Most people, the iPads raise your kids. You got kids who can't talk that can grab an iPad, go to YouTube and pull up a video of whatever cartoon they normally watch. And I'm like, okay, so we're letting electronics dominate what's going on. And I understand we're busy.
Yeah.
Okay. But at the same time, you're not too busy to sit down and get off of social media so you can go play a board game with somebody. Right? Build some real family drama with a board game. Try Pictionary. Yeah.
I love Pictionary.
Yes. The people who can draw always love Pictionary.
play that with my twins all the time, but I wanted to go back to a point that you made about the kids. You know, that's so huge because I had twins at a second phase of my life right before 40. And I had a second chance to really implement what you're discussing. And so one of the things I did from the time the girls were babies is I whisper in their ears every night before they went to bed, do you know how special you are? Do you know how amazing you are? And every single day, I still do that up till today. And the kids now, you know, they're like, Mom, you tell us this every day. But the point I wanted to make is that I always told the kids, you teach people how to treat you. And so one time my Hannah, she went to go play with one of the neighborhood kids and she came back and she was all flustered. And I said, what's the matter? And she says, you know, my friend wanted me to clean her room. And she said, I told her, it's not my job to clean your room. It's your job. And she says, well, then you need to leave right now. And Hannah says, okay, I'm out of here. And so she comes home.
I agree.
And she says to me, she says, you know, Mom, I owned my power. And I said to her, I said, right on, Hannah. I said, high five, Mama. You know, because I said, yeah, that's what you want to do. When something doesn't resonate with you and you know that, you feel that, walk away and own your power.
Yeah, I agree. And again, but that's, again, you're the one that's programming them. You're taking an active role in programming them. And so with that, right, and again, of my two youngest boys, one of them, I have to tell him, because he's a lot like me, I have to tell him the opposite of what I want. Right? So with him, I'm like, look, leave your room like crap. I don't care. Right? That's just going to be reflective on you. That's fine. The youngest brother, I look at him and I go, hey, go clean your room. He goes, okay, and does it. The oldest one went and did it because he wanted to defy what I'm saying.
Sure.
Right? Just like my whole don't tell me what to do kind of thing. And so that's what I look at. And that's, and again, but how many parents are sitting down to actually pay attention to what is working or not? Or do I just yell? Right.
Well, and I think that's really, you know, it's kind of at the heart of it, because if we're not doing that with ourselves, how are we going to be able to do it with our kids? And most of us haven't been programmed to do that. And so it's kind of like a skill that we have to learn. But if you're not even aware that you need to learn it, then it's like, well, you're probably not going to learn it. Right. So exactly. I love, and that's really one of the reasons that, you know, Sherry and I wanted to do this show, is just to help people start to understand that this is not complicated. This is not something difficult or mystical or woo-woo. It's really just being aware of some of these things so that you can make the changes that will help your life to evolve in the way that you want it to.
Absolutely. Again, just because somebody assigns a name to something that you don't understand, right? That's immediately when we say it's woo-woo, right? We're like, ooh, you out there, right? But again, can we assign it a different name so it's more easily acceptable? Okay. So if I said, why don't you come in, learn how to energetically release the people around you while removing all of the negative associations to the emotions that don't serve you, class. Right. Then everybody goes, what? If I'm like, look, we're going to do a visualization exercise. Right. You're like, what are you talking about? Dude, you're so out there. And I'm like, look, let's unpack all the crap that got put into your backpack all through your life, that voice in your head that's not yours, right? All of the associations you have to things. What if we got rid of it and gave you a clean slate and allowed you to unpack it anytime something gets dropped back in? Everybody goes, I can resonate with that. That makes sense to me. But are we going to do stuff that's woo-woo? Yeah. Do we do things? Do we explain it how it's more logical? Today is the best time out there because science is proving that just because we put a name on it that you don't understand. Let's be real. You ask, if you check in with yourself all day long, go, how do I feel right now? How do I feel right now? How do I feel right now? I don't care. Somebody's going to make up a name for that. Well, that's self-actualizing, emotional triggering. Whatever. Call it what it is. But then somebody goes, okay, and if I'm sitting back feeling like crap, I ideally, right, misery loves company.
Sure.
Okay. And it's not said because, oh, it's supposed to be ironic. It's said because if I'm miserable, I want to sit with somebody miserable. I don't want to sit with a happy person because then guess what? I have to change. I now have to choose to go and be positive because you're so positive.
Right.
Okay. And only when you get to that tipping point where you're feeling less lousy do you go, hey, I can almost see this. Right. And I think that's where a lot of people have an issue, is that I can't see happy from where I'm sitting. So if I can't see happy from where I'm sitting, what if you just got less crappy? Right? What if I felt less crappy? Right? What if I felt less miserable?
And I feel like a lot of people are kind of feeling that way right now. Like, this is just one of those times when it's like, can I just feel less crappy?
Right. I'm just going to go online and look. Somebody's going to go, oh, wow, maybe I can go find something that is positive, but it's only going to be for a 30-minute window. Right. And then I'm going to move off. Right. Because I'm going to go back to what my body's going, wait. What's this fun stuff?
Right.
We don't know what this is. Right. Let's go turn the news on and see if the tanks are rolling down the streets yet. Okay. And you'll always be able to find anything. That was the beautiful thing of Google. Whatever you want to find out about, you can find it to back up your beliefs.
So true.
Right? College Humor has a series called What If Google Was a Man? Right? And the guy, it's a comedian. He's sitting at a desk and everybody has to walk into his office and ask him for something, and he has to go pull it out from what's there. But you'll have somebody go, well, what is this? Does this cause this? And he goes, I have 2 million. He's got this giant stack, 2 million articles that says it doesn't. But I do have this one that says it does. And they go, yes, I knew it. And they run out with the one, right? You can always back yourself up anywhere, but can you challenge yourself to look for something different? Okay. So go as simple as this. So get up off the couch because you're going to go to the refrigerator and say to yourself, go, my goal is to get to the refrigerator. When you get there, check it off, right? That's your first win. Okay. If you're going to go look for something to eat, when you grab the food, say, look, I found something to eat. That's a win. And then what's going to happen is you start snowballing these wins into actual big wins because your brain now has a record of all of these consistent wins. Right. And so if you look at it and go, great, if I have somebody who's going to go up to the plate, because we used to have a country that played baseball, but if the person's going to go up to the plate and this person hits 98% of the time, they get on base. Okay. Is that the person you want up in the clutch position when all of a sudden everything looks really bleak? I go, that's the guy I want, because the 2% failure rate, I want that. I'm not going to go grab the guy who goes, I hit 1 out of 5 times. I go, I got a 20% guy. That's not who I want there. Okay. So if you stop and look right now, we've all been through crap. Can we agree?
Absolutely.
We have a track record of 100% for successfully getting through every shitty situation we've been through. Sorry, I cussed again. But do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. There's no reason why we're not going to get out of this too. There's absolutely no
and
reason.
I love that you use the analogy of the refrigerator, because I can get there.
Yeah, atta girl.
Numerous times a day.
Yes, exactly. I was just saying, most people are there, right? Everybody's fridge is going, what do you want now?
Yeah.
Right? You can't even make ice now because the door hasn't been closed long enough to get cold enough.
Right.
But again, what are you doing at that point in time where you continuously go to the refrigerator? We continuously go to the refrigerator, not because I'm hungry, because I'm bored and I'm looking for some stimulation. Right. So say I'm going to get up, I'm going to walk out to the mailbox and come back. So that to me is 2 wins. I made it to the mailbox and then I made it back. And I'll just play. And guys, it's just a childish little game. I get it. Except children are so much more happy than adults. So take the note and go, okay, fine. I mean, they're going to go, I'm going to go run and roll in the grass. You're like, why? Right? They go do it, come back laughing and happy. And we're like, you crazy kid. Right? But if we just did that, what would that be like? Right? Again.
Well, we're trained, and that's the thing too, is I notice it so much that so many people are trained, to look for the failure in others, to look for, how can I compete with others, or how can I break others down and find the negative in them. We've trained ourselves to look for that. And then when people like you and I get around those type of people who are being from that, and we're like, over the top, silly and humorous and, storytellers, they look at us like, oh my God, they're weird.
And I'm totally okay with it. See, that's the part that gets them twice as burned, is that you go, that's right. I'm okay. Call me weird. Call me whatever you need to label me to justify your own passiveness,
right,
to not take action for yourself. But what happens is they also look and go, well, where would I want to be around? Okay. So like with Dr. Bill and myself, right? We've told you guys, we're not allowed to sit together at any place, except wherever we sit, the people will come sit too. They're like, I want to go sit over there. That's the fun table, right? I want to go sit over there because it's going to be up. It's not going to be what it is, right? Everybody's sitting in a class. You got people going, I'm going to sit over there. Why are you going to sit over there? If you don't like me because I'm weird, you'll sit opposite. But if I can get half of a room that's all aligned with people that want to have fun and go through, okay, all of us have spoken on a stage. Do we want the person that's sitting out there going, you're not really who I was here to see, I'm waiting for the next person, right? Or do you want the person who's responding to you? The person who's like, that's right, you know? I want it to be like a church.
mm-hmm.
I want people out there going, amen, yes, that's right, that's right. I want that because I'm speaking and I know you're hearing me and we're connecting and going through. I don't want the person who goes, yes, that did happen to me once. Yes, that was a good point. No, I want the interaction. I want the people that are there. I don't want them getting up and going, woohoo! Yeah, that's not what I'm looking for in the crowd. An appropriate overreaction would be okay. But all I'm saying is that it's just about, can you make a connection with another person? And if you feel like crap, you can't. Okay? So there's a plug for the UK and there's a plug for the US. Okay, anytime you travel, you don't get to go plug your own hair dryer or my hair straightener, right, into the one in the UK. I have to buy an adapter to get there. Sure. So I believe that you need to find an adapter for ourselves, those of us like us that are more positive. We need to find an adapter to reach them where they're at with their native plug. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then once you build that adapter piece, which is, okay, like when Pam and I work together, I'm like, okay, how do we rename something so that more people will understand? You're still going to do what you do, okay? But you got to get past the labeling that somebody has put on it that may be construed as negative or not as effective, okay? And so so just repurpose what you're doing, but that's the adapter. You're still going to do everything that you do to get the results they want. They just don't know that they need that. They need something else that is going to be put out there. So if you have a high frequency, can you lower it? Yeah, but lower frequency people can't raise it unless they continuously decide to change something about them to raise it. So if I'm going to go ahead and say, I can easily lower mine and bring yours back up with me, okay? But I can't stay with you all the time. Right. And that's what I look at and say the best part of social media is that you decide who you're going to follow. Right. And you can go find somebody you resonate with. And so now they're actually communicating to me because we speak the same language. But I don't go out and look for people that have these totally off the wall belief systems and go, well, I'm going to convert you to mine. Right. I'm going to go out there and make myself miserable to go through it. No, we're going to go up and go with it. So I choose it so much. You know, I am somebody that we will joke and we will have fun, but I truly don't judge people.
Right.
Right. I will judge for comedy purposes because that's hilarious. Yeah. But right, I don't judge you and hold it that way. So I don't sit back and go, well, you are a miserable person and that's that. All right. I just go, if I need to focus on somebody who's miserable for humor's purpose, we know we can mention this person. But
I think that's such a great point too, because, you know, part of this is not judging ourselves too. You know, even if we are in that low energy place, you know, just to be able to see it and say, okay, that's where I am, and then pass no judgment on it. And then that actually in and of itself will help us move to that next level. Right. Where it's like, okay, well, you know, I don't have to be something else. You know, it doesn't mean I'm a bad person because I'm low energy right now, or because I feel depressed or whatever, and just kind of allow ourselves to be in that space a little bit.
Right.
But then to know we don't have to stay there. At the
correct.
Same time.
Whatever number you're at on a scale of 1 to 10, just acknowledge that's the number so you can see the next number. Like I said before, if you're a 2, you can't see 10, right? You're going to end up having to go through how many more steps to get there. That's way too much. Look and go, can I go from a 2 to a 3?
Mhm.
Right? If I can go from a 3 to a 4, guess what? Occasionally you skip a number and you end up at a 6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because why? Your body is learning to Jones the good stuff instead of Jones the bad stuff, and goes through. But again, I will tell you, I do sit back and I'll judge myself on what I need to improve on, but I don't dwell on it. Right? I sit down and go, I need to work. I need to get better at doing this. I need to get better at doing this. And then all of a sudden I can start getting better, because if I'm telling myself I need to identify the next step to get me higher, then my brain starts looking for it, right? We can go all medical and go, the reticular activator is designed to stimulate your cerebral cortex into identifying certain things, right? We can go there and play that game. I usually give that to Dr. Bill to play with, but
Yeah.
the fact is that we can have that conversation and go deep, but it's always about, can you just see the next step, and are you willing to take it? And if you're not, sit with it and be okay with it. Okay. And so wherever you're at, if that's where you want to stay, then stay there. But don't try to hurt somebody else to come to your level. You're just going to only stay with miserable people, right? Association.
Well, and Dr. Joe Dispenza, he says that, we spend 95% of our time in today in the past, our subconscious mind. And he says we don't realize that we're setting ourselves up all day for experiences that were attached to yesterday or the day before, or instead of just very much what I'm receiving from you, which is being in awareness. Because just like what you said, when you're in that state of conscious awareness and you're setting your goals, you're recognizing areas that you want to step up higher.
Absolutely. Well, if you look at Western society, we are all plagued with a voice in our head that doesn't shut up. Right? Nobody is teaching us that you need to learn how to quiet that constant chatter that goes back and forth. And so that constant chatter is the egoic mind, as Eckhart Tolle says, right? You either have to be solving a problem in the future that hasn't happened yet, or you need to be replaying something in the past and acting different in that play out, right? And we go, that's so that way if it happens again, I'm ready. It's like, no, you're not. You're just stealing joy from now. Be present in the fact that right now, do I need anything? No. So then sit in that instead of going, well, yeah, based on what time it is now, I should be having lunch in about a half an hour. So I should be getting hungry in about a half an hour, right? And we just try to outline everything, but so we can always stay thinking. But in all of the Eastern societies, meditation isn't a bad thing. It's not a woo-woo thing. It's not anything along those lines. It's how you quiet your brain to the point of getting to the point you could be creative, right? It takes the quiet to get creative. It takes that. I mean, we all say, you know what, my brain won't stop. And I'm like, well, what if we could hit the reset button? Right? You'll get peace while it's loading, and then the screens start populating up again, right? And I said, but could you do that? And they're like, I would love to know how to do that. Oh, you just need to meditate. Oh, yeah. Should I light candles and sit on the ground and do this? If it makes you feel good, do it. Okay. But we're not taught to do that. And since we're not taught to do it, it's weird. So the answer is mock it and judge it as something that's less than desirable. And I would rather just say, hey, if somebody said this works and you say, I'm not going to do it, then you lost the ability to complain about what you don't want anymore. Right?
And there's 1,000,001 meditation videos on YouTube.
On YouTube, yes, right? Or in the folder I gave everybody access to yesterday, right?
Yeah,
so I go out and I find things I'm like, this works for me, I'm going to share it. If I do it and it doesn't work for me, I don't share it, because I can't give you the experience of saying, yes, this works.
Right, exactly. Well, and too, I mean, look at one of the things that Pam's an expert in. She's an expert in EFT. And her and I have gotten together. She stayed at my house and we started doing tapping together. And it's just such a powerful tool to add to our toolbox that, releases any kind of stress or tension or anxiety. And yet people don't want to take the time to utilize these tools that are coming up in front of them for a reason, because I like to say what you're seeking is always seeking you, which might go right over people's heads, but every one of us is seeking something and we're pulling it to us, but we're just pushing it away when it comes right here in front of us.
Well, because if it's not something that you were told works by that authoritative figure prior to the age of 7, right, then to me it's foreign. Okay, and that's going to take, if I said we all have to go learn a Chinese, right? Okay, why? Because they're popular now, right? So if we go in and say you got to learn Chinese, we're all going to have that moment where we stop and go, this is going to be difficult. This is going to be a different way of doing things. This looks weird. And if I can tell you it's stupid, everybody speaks English around the world, it's the business language, blah, 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 then I can justify my lack of action, right, to myself. And that's all I really have to do. And I'm going to tell all of you, so you nod, right? So as you are both nodding, I go, see, that's right. I got my validation. So later on, somebody goes, that doesn't make any sense. You need to learn that. And I go, nope, Pam agreed with me. Sherry agreed with me, right? So I know it to be true. And more often than not, right, you won't call me on the BS that I'm giving you because you're like, I don't want to be rude. And so you just go, you're right, Joe. Right? And then I turn around and I go, great, I got my validation, and off I go. And I only need a couple validators, and then I'm like, yep, I believe it. 2 other people agreed with me, therefore it must be true. But
well, yeah, and I also think that we really haven't been given a sense growing up in our culture that we even need to think about these sorts of things. Like, it's sort of like, what are you guys talking about, in a way, I think for a lot of people. Like, high vibe, what is high vibe? Right. It's like we don't really have a framework for it in a lot of senses. And so I think even just kind of helping people to create that framework is important.
Absolutely. And if you look at it, somebody's going to have to be, this show won't resonate with anybody who's a low vibe. So all of you that clicked off of it, we know where you stand, right? Yeah. Are we judging you? No, we're just calling it like it is, right? I may be judging. These 2 are not. Okay. But when you look at that, what am I saying to Elbat, right? I can say, yes, if I want to be better, I'll seek out what will make me better. Okay. But if I've already got off the floor of vibration, okay, then that means the parked car is no longer parked. It's much easier to build momentum and go to the top where I can start going forward. But even if you're a 10 and I'm a 3, if I want to get to a 4, a 10 can show you how to get to a 4. And just by hanging out, whether it's digitally or not, with a 10 will pull you up. It's not going to pull you to 10, but it's going to pull you to a 4 where then you learn to live at a 4. Then it'll pull you to a 5 where you learn to live at a 5. Right. And then if you go on YouTube and learn more things, right? Again, why are there 3 of us on the thing right now? Because 3 of us have 3 opinions. They all are maybe similar, maybe they're not. But again, it's all talking about a high vibe nation, which is we choose to vibrate higher.
Right.
Okay. So if everything is energy, then the vibration you put out determines what's attracted to you. And so if you don't decide to vibrate higher, then you're going to get low-level stuff. And again, it's all caused by me. And so, but again, nobody stays right now, right here. That's the truth of the matter, right? Sherry said it earlier. If we're not paying attention to right now, and instead we're looking to say what's going to go wrong in the future or what happened to me in the past, it's 90-something% of the thoughts that you have today were the same ones you had yesterday. And if you ask your unconscious and you say, okay, where are we going to be a week from now? It's going to predict something, but based off of your past, not based on what you just learned. And that's the beautiful thing about hope, is that if you pay attention to somebody who's talking at a higher frequency, they can peek behind the curtain and see that there is something different, right? The jail cell you put you in, you realize there was no lock on the cell, right? While you're looking out that little square window to see that's there, you realize you could just walk out the door and go outside. But it takes somebody outside going, are you stupid? Look at the gate. Look at the cage you're in. It's self-imposed. And so
Well, and I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier that, we all have been through the crap, we've all been through it. We've all been at the lowest points. And
Right.
so it's because of that we then have gone on the journey to get to somewhere better. And, I think it's just important for people to understand that, like, you're not just like automatically at 10, it's not just like, oh, some people got lucky and they became a 10,
Right.
it's because you were at rock bottom. You were at the ultimate
More
crap.
than one time. Yes. More than one time. You don't have to just, rock bottom's just not a one-time thing. You can stay there as long as you want. It allows you to come back too. So
exactly.
When you get lost on the way up,
as many times as you want.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
But again, some people believe you have to do that to go up.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, if I get in the elevator on the 4th floor, I don't have to go to the lobby first and then hit penthouse. Right. It doesn't make sense. But some people believe in life, right? The only thing you can do is you have to hit the bottom so that you can then determine what is real, what isn't real, and then climb to the top. And it's like, you don't start where you're at. No reason going lower.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that because, if you're on the 3rd floor and you feel like, you got to go to the 4th floor and wait, and then, like you've hit all the buttons. No, you could just hop on with the person who's going to the penthouse and ride with them. Exactly. If somebody's already been up, come down, they're going, just hitch a ride and save yourself all the stops.
Right. I agree. Sometimes they get mad because, if it's just the penthouse is their house, they're a little worried why I'm going with them. But yes, a little awkward. No, I'm going where you're going. Yeah. No. Make sure they invite you into their elevator. That's the most fun part, right? Yeah.
Saying what you just said. See, here's the issue. People are afraid to ask.
Absolutely.
Yep.
They're afraid to ask, hey, can you share the ingredients to your recipe with me? Can I hitch a ride with you up there? I mean, I always tell people, my clients, when I'm at my office, when I can't be at my office, I always tell them, it's all about vibes. When we walk into any room, you cannot deny that you don't feel the vibes off the people in the room. Who's happy, who's sad, who doesn't resonate with you. Your internal, I like to call it your vibrational reader meter.
Okay. And it rhymes, so it has to be golden. Yes.
But, think about it. When you have a parking meter, you have the parking meter all the way down here in low vibrations. And as you put money into the parking meter, what do? You either fill it up and you're vibrating high, or you go at these different levels of where you have just enough money in the parking meter. But the truth is that our internal operating system, you can call it intuition, our gut, is always telling us where we're at in ourselves based on what's showing up in our environment.
True. Well, and again, I like the same concept, but the little radiation meters, the little Geiger counters, right? If you're walking down a hallway, the little counter in your head, it goes tick, 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 tick. And if the person is just bad news, it's going bing all the way into the fatal.
So true.
Right? And you feel it as you're walking towards them, right? Whether you can stay in the hallway, not to make eye contact with that person based off of their vibe, right? It's like, this is what it is. And you go, and stop saying, and so many people go, it's so bad because I'm judging that person. I'm like, you're not, you're feeling that person.
Right.
It's not a judgment. It's my body reacting to their energy compared to mine.
Right.
So there's people you walk in the door and you're like, not going to spend time with that guy. Right. There's other people you walk in, you're like, hey, we're already meshing. We're pretty close right now. This is a good thing. Right. As long as you don't open your mouth and say, absolutely disgusting, rude things, then you'd come talk to me. But sit with Bill and I, we'll be good. But on the other people will be like, okay, then that's what I go, okay, great. You had good energy, but you didn't have good tact, right? There was no tact and finesse in your delivery, but your energy was good, which means you could be, but you're not now. So my bandana's on. You just can't see it, Christopher. Guess what color? Yes. So, but that's what I look at and say, you guys, again, listen to the meter, listen to what's going off and going, because if I'm walking up and it's just sitting there quiet, then I know weak and gel, it's going to be there because it's reading what's off on that other person. So, and guess what? Some people peg straight to lethal. Some people hit poison. Some people hit sickness, right? But just allow their meter to be there. And so
that's so true. That's so true. It goes back to what you said before, meeting people right where they're at, not judging them, but also staying in your higher vibration and giving from yourself freely without expecting, but at the same time offering them, the choice to come up.
Right. Well, to me, the answer is this, right? It's the same as water. If the water's too hot, right away. So we would be hot water to somebody with a low vibration. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if they just jumped in the jacuzzi, they're going to burn and jump right out. They're going to say, that's not for me. Okay. But if you slow boil the water, so if we lowered ours down to where they could get in and just be a little uncomfortable, mm-hmm. then periodically I'll spike it, drop it, spike it, drop it, spike it, drop it. And then but the drop will be at a higher temperature. We can always boil, right? Because once you get there, you can stay there because of what the benefit is to you and what you feel, right? I don't want to go feel like crap. I don't want to hide under my desk, right, in a prenatal position and cry, but there's people at home doing that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? They're doing that because they don't know what's going to happen. And it's like, okay, great. There's people who do that during regular times. Mm-hmm. Okay. But again, that's because I chose to stay in the cold water mm-hmm. and just sat in the cold. Now I prefer the cold water, but side note, different there. Different, but for the analogy, no, we want to boil. And so that's what.
Or at least be comfortably hot.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But again, yeah, I got to go to their level and I can spike it little by little mm-hmm. so that they can see there's something different, but then just keep the low point moving up the scale. And then, right, the frog jumps out of boiling water, but if you just slowly turn up the boiling water, it'll end up dying in the water mm-hmm. because it just goes, I can deal with a little change. I can deal with a little change and it's there. So my answer is just, let's bring you up together, because when you get to the top level of the vibration, it's never a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think, go ahead. I was just going to say, I think we have this concept too, that things have to be kind of hard work. I'm going to have to, I'm so tired. I don't have time to do it. Are you kidding me? I've got so much going on. There is no way I could do one more thing. And, how could I possibly have the energy? And so I think that, there's this concept that we have that making changes is work. And so I think shifting that a little bit too, and just understanding it's the opposite of that, really. It takes some time. Yes, it takes a little bit of concentration or, a willingness to pay attention, but it's not work.
Right. But everything takes too long and too much work when I don't want to do it.
True. That is true.
Right. Yeah. And so if you get to the point where you say, I want to change, then everybody does this. We look back and we go, that wasn't that bad. Why did I wait so long to do it? Mm-hmm. Right. And so if you're going to wait so long to do it, then you didn't really want to change anyway. And I just wanted to stay here. But again, some people get so comfortable with, they take bitching about it as doing something about it.
Right.
Right. And they go, so if I complain about it, that's me acknowledging to you. Okay, so I'm going to look and go, Pam, I need you to understand something. I don't like where I'm at. I hate where I'm at. What I'm doing sucks. My life sucks. I hate it. And then I go, whew. So at least Pam knows that I'm not truly happy here. I won't do anything. But next week, I'm calling Sherry to go, listen, Sherry, I'm not happy where I'm at. I'm not liking this at all. I don't. And I go, okay, whoo. Well, I told 2 people, so if they hit the lotto, they know to give me money. Right? But again, I'm going to complain about it because that's doing something. Mm-hmm. But you're mistaking the actual activity for a result.
Right.
Right? And so, but again, they'll think they did something.
Well, I like to use that idea around, let's use money, for example. When we talk about money being energy, and back to the whole idea that everything is energy. And, so many people, that's the story you're hearing coming from them right now is I don't have enough, the whole scarcity mentality and am I going to make it? And, this whole discussion has been around where we put our attention, where we put our focus, where we put our energy, and that we are the cause of what's showing up in our now moments. So if our focus is on, scarcity, not enough, and lack and limitation, then I like to use Abraham's whole analogy. Every 16 seconds, you're compiling this thought and this thought and this thought. By 60 seconds, you've given so much energetic power of, frequency and vibration that you're pulling to you where your focus is, what you are basically. Lack,
right.
You don't have enough, and you're pulling that to you, not enough.
Correct. And to me, right, wherever your focus is where your energy is. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I don't watch TV. I don't watch the news, right? I don't want to see all the stuff, the branding on what I'm supposed to feel. Mm-hmm. So I don't do that. So again, if you just stopped for a second and play a game like a kid and say, what if, right? And what if is an opener to your imagination. And you say, well, what if I found a way to make more money? Now I can start seeing more ways to make money, mm-hmm. right? So like I do my sales call. The other day I dedicated my whole sales call is how do you make money from home, right? Not what your current job was, because I don't know if you still have it. But my answer was, if you're sitting at home, can you do this? Here's 10 different things you can do working from home. Well, the people that are stuck in the poor me
right.
watched it and went, well, that was good info. Uh-huh. The people that were hungry and said, what can I do? And then understand, I put that together without anybody knowing what the topic was. So, yeah, it's true. It's true. I try to hide it, Christopher, but sometimes it comes out.
Christopher.
Huh?
So is Christopher.
Yeah, Christopher.
We gotta have Christopher on the show with us, with all of us.
Yeah, you need Christopher after hearing his story the other day.
Oh my
God. That boy went straight up.
Woo, didn't he?
But if you look at it and say, okay, so the person who was thinking to themselves, maybe the last couple of days going, okay, I need to find ways to make some money. Then I put out that show. To them, they looked and said, the universe is aligning for me, mm-hmm. because they were able to see what I was putting out to try to help, and it matched. Guess what? On 14 people on the phone call, if it matched with one person, they're like, woo, yeah, that was great. Everybody else was like, good information. Mm-hmm. Okay, a couple people were like, yeah, right. You expect me to do that? Do you know how much money I used to make? I'm like, do you know how much you're making now? Right? Gut check moment. How hungry are you? And so that's where I look and say, okay, great. Go find these opportunities. But because I'm looking and somebody mentions it, okay, then all of a sudden I go, wow, you see that? Right? Somebody the other day goes, you know what? My husband and I were talking about blah, blah, blah. Right? So that's how I know these little robot spies in our house are actually listening to us. Right? Because all of a sudden there was an ad for this on my Instagram feed. And I was like, yeah, do you know that ad could have been running for the last 6 months on your Instagram feed, but because you weren't looking for that, you weren't going to see it. Do you know how many stuff I just scroll right through and go on? I'm like, come on. And then all of a sudden, but if I go, ooh, like I've done this for like going on 4 months where I go stand by it because I have one of these robots, the one from Amazon. I can't say her name because she'll join the conversation. Right? Mm-hmm. And I will turn around and say, right, to my wife, I'll go, wow, we're running out of ketchup again. We need ketchup. I've never once seen an ad for ketchup. Not even when I log into Amazon is there an ad for ketchup. And I'm like, they're stupid then if they're listening to that, right? And I'm like, do you know how, if you stopped and said, I want to know how many home improvement ads are running through my Facebook, Instagram and stuff, then you'll see them all. But if you live in an apartment and you're not going to fix up the house, you're not going to see that. Okay. But it's still rolling, but are they listening? Oh yeah, they're listening. Let's not be real. I'm not gonna go, no, they don't. I'm gonna say, yeah, they're listening. I just don't have anything exciting for them to listen to. Right? The last time I plotted world domination, we didn't have these things. So I go into my underground bunker that they can't hear for me to plan that with the guys.
Oh my God, that's so funny. That's funny. Well, it makes me think of the whole thing that Charlie talks about.
Yes. So I'm going to point out Tim Gillette's comment. Tim, we all have toilet paper ads running right now. It's smart business. I haven't said it yet because I have a whole bunch, but I'll tell you, I see it all the time because I recognize good marketing, right? I look over and there's this giant 24 pack and I'm like, those bears keep popping up a lot more than they used to. And I never once said I needed it.
So true.
It's good marketing. Come on. That's like, okay, do you know that people are selling face masks? Oh my God. How could that be? Yeah, I'm spending a bunch of money. I'm waiting for the next county to say they're on strike, right? That everybody has to wear it. So, and then you go, okay, great. Now I'm going to go market that area with my ad budget. So
what was that movie that was on that talks about all of this with Will Smith? Remember that whole advertising movie and subliminal advertising movie and all that? You remember that?
Yes, I do know which one you're talking about. I bought it. Yes, where he went through and said we're going to program the guy to pick the right number and things like that. Yeah. So I do remember it. It's in my Apple movies, but
I can't think of the name either.
Well, shirts are outselling pants, Christopher, because of our live Zooms. You don't have to put pants on. You really don't. There's plenty of videos where you can see people don't have it. Yes. So. But again, everybody's like, I'm going to buy dress shirts. I'm going to buy 2 of them so they're different colors. We'll do that. But the trick is you just sit there and you go, what? Yeah. Yeah, that's how you can just say, oh, sorry, I had to get off the call. Yeah.
Well, it's so, here's the thing that I like, and I tell you this all the time. I love just sitting here in a conversation with each other, vibing high and talking about these kind of things that we know helps others. It doesn't matter, who pops in and who pops out. It's the joy of talking with each other and talking about this kind of stuff. This is what raises your vibe, is by doing things that cause happiness, that cause joy and laughter.
I agree. We got to have fun with it. Christopher, I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually naked under my clothes.
I was afraid to ask that question. Yeah. Actually, Christopher, I was like, I'm not going to ask Joe what he's wearing.
Yeah, you can't do that. Because then I tell you things like I'm wearing a V-neck trousers, and then you got to picture it. Yeah.
Listen to Tim.
Tim, I love it. I love it.
Awesome. Oh my God.
I'm not the same size. My wife's much smaller. Would not be good. I'd have to wear one on each leg. Just defeats the purpose.
Well, and this actually brings up something kind of funny. I mean, this is unrelated but related. So I think this might have even been before I was born. I don't know. But way back in the day, speaking of like social conditioning, my mom would leave a skirt on her bed so that if anyone came to the door, she could run really fast and put her skirt on and then answer the door, because it was like unacceptable for women to wear pants, right? That was like such strong social conditioning. And so we have all this social conditioning, all these things that seem normal to us, that when you really stop and look at them, you think there's really nothing normal about that. Why would I stay in a place where I feel like crap all the time? Right? Why have we accepted that as normal? Mm-hmm. Why is it, normalized for us to talk to someone and be like, oh, this crappy thing happened and that crappy thing happened and this is crap. And then they're like, yeah, I know this crappy thing happened to me and that crappy thing happened. And it's like, that's become so normal for us. And so just the idea of learning to create, like you were talking about, that new normal where we do just connect and have fun and laugh. and start to move up to this place where we expect that to be the new normal.
Right. And again, but you have to recognize the normal you're in is not the right normal. And that's the ugly truth when it gets to the point is I have to admit that I'm in a spot that's not the spot I want to be in. Right. And be willing to do something more than just complain about it. And that's where again, that's painful, right? Mm-hmm. It's painful to sit and look because I allowed myself to get there. And then to turn around and go, okay, yeah, this is painful. I don't want to feel pain. So let me go back the other way.
And we kind of like to blame people and be, let it be someone else. Oh, it's my parents' fault. I mean, look at how terrible my parents are or whatever, And so then it's like, well, why should I have to take responsibility for the things they did? Kind of becomes the mentality. And so ultimately what you're saying is, what if you just looked at it and said, what if there was something you could do about it now, regardless of the rest?
Right. And again, I have to really, really decide it's different because we all have that one upper friend that whatever you say is going well, one ups you, but we also have that one downer friend, right? That I'm going to go lower than you when you say something happened, right? Well, this happened today. And the answer is, well, let me tell you what happened to me. It went right 2 steps down and went through. And so you have to actually acknowledge the fact that that's what's happening. And if you realize it, then step out, right? That's not someone to associate with. Later, Christopher. So, but that's where you got to look and say, am I ready? Am I ready to move forward? Because we can always.
What do I want? Going back to
the person who annoys you right now is the person vibing higher than you 9 times out of 10. Because a lower energy person can always hang with you and it doesn't bother you because you're at a different level. So if you look and go, I don't want to talk to that person, you go, that's probably the person you need to talk to the most, because what you don't like is that they have no ticks going off on their Geiger counter at all. So we're the cure. Higher vibes is the cure, right? We can stay away from everything bad. Because everything's not bad or good. It's just the way it is.
Higher vibes are more fun.
Oh, absolutely. Else, right? Absolutely. So. Right? There's people right now going, I don't understand why you guys are even on here.
Yeah.
Right? Low vibers. I don't care. One person answered back and was like, hey, good stuff. Great. Accomplished. Right? Mission accomplished. We're good to go.
That's right.
How can people get a hold of you?
Well, the police know where I'm at all times, but you can probably just, if you wanted to hit me up, you can hit me up at my website, which is ingraminteractive.com. So ING, it's on the screen right below my name, right? INGRAM interactive.com. So I have a lot of stuff there. So for the Sherry people and the Pam people that are out there, if you go to ingraminteractive.com and hit /secret, there's a whole bunch of ebooks and all bunch of stuff that you can download. How your brain works, PDF things, stuff like that. So if you go there, boom, there's free stuff for you.
Awesome. Well, gosh, it's been such an amazing day with you, Joe. I mean, I know Pam
ditched us in the morning. Let's be real.
Wonderful.
Anything last you want to ask Joe or talk about?
No, I'm just going to say make a decision to be better than where you're at now, right? First, acknowledge where you're at, because just like your GPS, you can't tell you how to get someplace unless it knows where you're at. So if it can't connect first, then you're never going to get directions to where you want to go. So just get the gut check moment. Be honest with yourself. Don't listen to that voice in your head goes, yeah, but this is why. Just say, this is where I'm at. And if you can get to that level of honesty with yourself, then something can change. But if you can't and you want to give me a reason, and that's you yourself you're talking to why you're there, then tough. You're going to stay there. Mm-hmm. Right? And I'll be moving to the other side of the hallway when we pass. Let's just be that way.
Right. Because it's available to each and every one of us. Every one of us has volition.
Absolutely.
And we can choose in any moment to change, to shift, to live a better life.
Yes. Be woke.
Yes.
Because that's the word today. Be woke. But again, if you're cloaked, you can't be woke to what's going on out there, because you're sitting underneath the thing going, no, it's all about me. No, it's not. Right? Acknowledge you, then see where it's coming in everywhere else. So
be woke, not cloaked.
Word.
I
My mic is kind of large for me to drop. It may break, so I can't just.
We might have our tagline now.
Yeah.
Be woke, not cloaked.
Cloaked. There you go. I'm glad I can contribute to every show after this. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Joe. We are so grateful for what you brought, the uniqueness, the amazingness of you and what you brought. I mean, Pam and I both already know how amazing and special you are, and we're part of your inner circle, and we love you dearly. So
Absolutely. The love is received and sent right back. Yes. No, absolutely. I adore you both. It's fantastic. I appreciate you.
Awesome. Well, we got to have you back on. I mean, gosh, what an amazing conversation.
I think I ran out of everything. I don't have any other knowledge all out there. I just left it all out on the field. Right? I'm a one-trick pony. That was it. If you didn't get it, you didn't get it. Yes.
Awesome.
Nice, Tim. I do have an ankle bracelet, one on each leg, because there's two different authorities are watching me. Can't share frequencies.
That is hilarious.
So,
well, thank you again. This was a lot of fun.
Oh my God. You know who we had on the show watching with us was Lisa Patrick. She's the one that did the show yesterday with.
Awesome.
Thank you, Lisa. She says, thank you, Lisa, so much.
Thank you, Lisa.
Did you see what she said? She said, the conversations you avoid are the ones you should be having.
True statement. Just like the people.
Yep. Better freaking believe it. Better believe it. Well, gosh, Jen, this has been amazing. And so we will definitely have you back on. And so for those of you who are looking to be a guest of ours on the High Vibe Nation, our website is thehighvibenation.com. And we have a calendar on there. You can reach out to the calendar. There it is right there, thehighvibenation.com. Reach out to the calendar, set up a time, and we'll have you on as a guest. Pam, any last minute things you want to say to our guests?
Just a joy. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for sharing out. You know, this is what's really fun about this for us, is being here with you guys and, you know, spreading these messages. I mean, our hope is just that as many people as possible can come to a place where they can really experience the fullness of life and, you know, everything that's available to them. And so when you guys are here and participating, then there's so much more of that. And when you share it out, that's the case as well, too. So thank you for being here and being a part of this.
And just as our tagline said, it's time to shift your life. All right, everybody, you have a wonderful day. Be blessed.
Bye.